Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders with Marketing Huddle, and today we have with us Amy Kirsch, who is the Director of Investor Services with RealtyShares. Welcome to the program, Amy.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. Hey, give us a little bit of background. What is RealtyShares and how you guys operate in the market?
Absolutely. RealtyShares is an online marketplace where investors and sponsors come together to transact an investment in real estate. And I am the Director of Investor Services, as you mentioned, so I'm working with clients all the time who are looking to diversify their investment portfolios into private placement in real estate.
So is this like a REIT?
It's like a REIT only in that you have an opportunity to invest in real estate through both, but it's very different in that, unlike a REIT, you can see the actual properties and make a decision based on that property, whether you want to invest in equity or debt, and then in a specific property, in a specific region, you get to understand the sponsor, the business plan, then making those kinds of decisions. Whereas a REIT, you're just choosing the REIT, and then they're making all the underlying.
Yeah, so it's like a big hedge fund, and they take the money and invest in real estate. Whereas here, it's kind of like in a, I don't know, maybe this is a strange example, but it's kind of like where you see those, adopt a kid or support a kid in a third world country, and it's like you can pick the child and pick this, and then you get to know them and write a letter. Sort of like this, where you can pick, the type of investment, the type of way you are investing, and it kind of gets you a little bit more engaged. That
is absolutely the best analogy I've heard yet.
Cool. So, well, I'll send you my invoice for that marketing insight. But for real, I mean, it's kind of like I went to a marketing conference recently, and they said, there's so many times that people use techno-babble. They just talk about their stuff because they know it, but the people kind of, their eyes glaze over. So you need to break it down and say, it's kind of like, and then you use like a really simple example. And when you explained it, that's what came to me. So, your website says simplified investing with as little as $5,000. So I think that's an interesting point to touch on too, because isn't it true that many times these types of investment opportunities, you've got to have a pretty hefty amount just to get up and running, and you might feel uncomfortable with that, with a new opportunity.
That's correct. So there's that and access too. So that's one of the things that RealtyShares breaks open. So yes, you typically have to write a much larger check size, so it can be difficult to diversify that way because you have to put all your money into one investment, and then understanding what opportunities are out there. It's typically someone you know or a friend of someone you know. So this is unrelated people, or it's through our network, which is quite expansive. And like I said, is 35 states across the country where you wouldn't normally have access to that before. So in both cases, it's quite different than typically how people invest.
Yeah, and I think that it's kind of like some flash-in-the-pan type of investments you hear about. People like, I don't know, but real estate is real estate. And I think that that's where people have that, comfort level that they know real estate is solid, but they don't want to maybe get their hands dirty with buying the actual property themselves. So I think this could be a nice alternative that way, right? Because they can get a little bit involved, but then it's not all the risk for them. They see the transactions, but they're not the ones rolling up their sleeve doing a fix and flip.
Right. We see basically all kinds of investors. I think what you're saying is exactly right. And we hear that phrase actually quite frequently. We're just done getting our hands dirty. They're tired from doing the investments on their own. So they still want to do that a little bit, but don't want to do all the work in all their property. So having this passive cash flow is really interesting for them. So we kind of see people who are still doing that, but then also have been doing it for 20 years and are ready for someone else to do the work.
So what is one of the main objections that you hear when someone is first engaging with your opportunity? What are they saying? Like, yeah, but.
That's a great question. I'm trying to think of what our biggest objections are. I think that a lot of it is getting comfortable with a new way of investing. So whereas people have been buying and selling stocks online, and that's been going on for a while. It's
right.
new to invest in real estate online and to understand what you're investing in. And there's not a lot of liquidity when it comes to these investments. So getting comfortable with parking your capital for a longer period of time with people you might not necessarily have met before. So that's actually what my team is here for, to walk you through the investments, help you understand our process, and really act as to get over that hurdle. So I guess that would be the biggest objection, and just getting people to understand and accept a new way of doing things.
I know that in the financial world with compliance, you know, there's all kinds of red tape, and you can say this and can't say that. In your world, is there a range of return that you can point to? You know, like when you invest, you know, you can expect a range of return of X to X. What do you say when people ask that question?
Yes, and yes, that's true. Compliance is a big part of what we do, and we are registered with a broker-dealer, so I am mindful of that. We do have a range of returns, though, generally, and of course, nothing is guaranteed, so I want to put that caveat out there.
Oh, yeah.
But we offer 3 different types of products: debt, preferred equity, and equity. With debt, we currently see rates between 8 and 11% typically. With preferred equity, it's 10 to 15, and part of that can be paid current and part can be accrued. And then with equity, I'd say 15 plus, depending on the opportunity. Development tends to see a higher return. So, you know, of course, these are really broad ranges, and to get to understand, that's why we present people with so much information about that direct offerings. They can understand what we project the returns to be, what can be expected if everything goes according to plan, and then we're here for you if it doesn't too. So we kind of support you all the way around.
And you know, one you know, this is new to me, so I'm asking questions like a lot of people would. So it's really great to kind of go through this, and people can go, yeah, that was my question too. So if I were to invest in a opportunity this way, and it's real estate, I would wonder, well, on some projects, am I actually listed on the project? Like, is my name on the title too, so that I don't just wake up one day and here's this project I read in the news, like it just got sold, and now I'm going, well, where am I at? So is there some level of security where you can go, hey, you're listed as one of the participants somewhere, right?
Yes. So what happens, how the investments are done is through a transaction through RealtyShares, and it's not commingled with RealtyShares as a company, but rather, let's take equity, for example. There's an LLC established for each individual investment, and then you would be a member of that LLC. So you would have an ownership into that LLC, which is then listed on as an owner, as an equity owner or member of that overall offering. So while your name might not appear on title, RealtyShares LLC 224 would. And so it also is better that way as well, because you have limited liability should something go wrong with the project.
Yeah, that's a good point. At least you have, in other words, you could point to some legal document that says I'm part of this transaction, and you know, and it's kind of like when you talk to customer service and you're like, what was your name and number, because I want to make sure that if something goes wrong, I can point back to this conversation.
Correct. It's a legal document. It's posted on investor dashboards that shows that you subscribed and we have your capital attributed to it. Absolutely. Yeah, there's a trail of documents that you would show ownership.
So what types of fun projects are kind of in the hopper? What kind of gets people excited? Like, ooh, that's really neat, because with a stock I can buy X shares in X company, but this, it's like, yeah, I'm part of this project.
Yeah. So I can't talk about live deals or deals coming through soon. That's a big no-no for compliance. But I can talk about deals we've done in the past. And you said it just right. So it's about having shares in these investment opportunities. Some of the things that we've done in the past that I think have been particularly interesting are, we did a Chicago condo development deal last summer where now there's a new retail offering in the basement and a restaurant. And it's kind of an exciting project where we help the developer. We provided equity, and now that deal is almost done. We've done a couple hotel projects. Investors seem to really like that because it's very difficult, like we talked about earlier, to invest in a hotel for a $10,000, $20,000 increment. What else have we? Some interesting projects. We've done some retail offerings. So across the country, really, where there are some dollar stores, and giving the opportunity to invest in that as well.
And so these aren't just like, hey, invest in 123 Main Street down the road, and we're going to flip this puppy, and we're going to make a great return. These are pretty substantive projects, and that's pretty encouraging.
It's both. So we also I'm talking more about preferred equity and equity, but we also do residential fix and flip deals. Those are I have less unique stories to tell about them because we do quite a large volume of them, but they're all over the country, and we do those all the time. And those can be 12 to 18-month terms, whereas the other ones can be a little more substantial, like you mentioned, 3 to 5 years.
So what do you find your clients most interested in?
It's completely a split. So you can find people who are really what we're all about is providing one-stop shopping for real estate investors. So if they're looking for debt, they'll be able to find it. If they're looking for equity, they'll be able to find that. What we find mostly is that people are looking to diversify across their real estate portfolios. So 80% of our investors have equity and debt in their transactions, in their previous transactions, so they have both. Got it.
Neat. So what are some of the things that you're seeing in the industry that are kind of like coming up that would make this become even more viable? Because, like you said, this is a newer concept as opposed to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. People are used to that. What's going to make this this kind of niche in your industry be more and more and more widespread, accepted?
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of different ways. One is we're talking automation is a key here, and machine learning and understanding how to better originate deals through technology and making that accessible. So I think that's a big win for us where we can synthesize a deal relatively quickly. And then automation on the investor side where they're getting quicker servicing and making things happen faster. So your money is put to work quicker and you're getting the information you need right away. So I think both of those things I think automation is going to be a really big turn for our industry and really acceptance. So we're still in the very early phase. This happened because of the Jobs Act in 2012. So we're 4 years into this very early industry as people get to understand that there's proof here that you can invest online, that it's done through a broker dealer, that it looks a lot like other securities you're looking at, that can be, that will be a way that will grow. And the last way I'd say is through institutional capital as they start to understand us as a way to invest in middle market real estate where it really hasn't been available before, like I said, in higher volumes and a lot of transparency. There's a lot of ways that this industry can grow, and I think we're kind of ripe to participate in all of that.
Yeah, I think that is neat. I mean, you think about where we were 15 years ago technology-wise, and who would have thought whatever, just name some things, right? Driverless cars and all of that kind of stuff. So I love you think about Uber and how they've disrupted the taxi industry with what they do. And I think that, this kind of disruptive opportunity, even though it's not a technology per se, technology is the platform to conduct the business, but it's, you're a connector. You really are connecting, people to, real estate investments without having to have the deep knowledge or the time in investment. So I love that concept of being disruptive. Is that what you guys had started the concept at the very beginning is, we see an opportunity, let's disrupt this industry, or is it just kind of like come with the territory?
It's absolutely. So the founder of my company was in the real estate space before, and was an attorney, so saw that the legal landscape was changing and making this available where it could really break open real estate and change the nature of the way it's done. So disruption in real estate it's one of the oldest industries, and it has been looking for this kind of opportunity to give people more involved. So absolutely, that's what he was thinking about when he started the company. And we've seen the evolution over the last couple of years. People have been wanting this. There's an appetite, and, there should be a stock exchange for real estate. And that's what we're looking to build.
Yeah, that's really neat. So what are some of the things that you would say? I'm certain that you have a competitor. There's someone out there that does things similar to what you do. So what is it that sets you apart? What's your competitive advantage? Absolutely.
There are some people who are in our space. I'd say it's varied. Some people, we really are, like I mentioned before, you can find a lot of different varied opportunities product-wise, and geography-wise. So that's really what we're providing. And we're also end-to-end. So you can come to us, we're originating deals, and we're servicing them through exit. I don't really see anyone doing that across the board. What we see in our competitors is they're doing one of those things. So we have people who just supply debt, and they're not originating the debt, or they just do equity and they don't service the deal. So that's why I think we're the most comprehensive platform out there. And like I said, I know all of our competitors pretty well, and I don't see anyone else doing it that substantially.
Neat. That's kind of, you ever heard of the blue ocean? So you guys you've moved past the red ocean into the blue ocean.
I love the blue ocean.
I know. Hey, well, let's wrap up with what's the best way that people can learn more and engage with your website or reach out to connect with you guys.
Yes, you can find us at www.RealtyShares.com, and there's where you'll find all of our listings and platforms. If you have any questions, you can find us at invest@RealtyShares.com.
Awesome. Well, Amy, it was wonderful talking with you today. I loved learning about your investment opportunities in real estate, and thank you for taking the time to come on.
Thanks so much, Mike.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneursradio.com.